Dear Mrs. Zovko, Mrs. Sirotić, esteemed guests, lecturers and members of the Nikola Tesla Network Association, hello and welcome to the conference Nikola Tesla, the starting point. I am pleased that the conference is being held in the European Parliament, for Europe was in fact where Nikola Tesla, the great inventor and scientist, was born, raised and worked for the first 28 years of his life. Today, representatives from the countries in which Tesla lived and worked will present cutting-edge projects based on his achievements. So we are following Tesla's path, we are following Tesla's steps through Europe, and our lecturers today will be Mr. Ivana Radošević, the president of the Nikola Tesla Network Association, Mr. Jacquesa Matteija, a consultant and former director of the Destination Napoleon Cultural Route, Mr. Martina Avsenika, an academy-trained painter and owner of the marketing agency, Dr. Igora Pavličeka, a business developer, Mr. Gyula Bunnu, the well-known Hungarian banker and sustainable growth expert, Mr. Luka Lopin, young scientist from Serbia, was scheduled to be our speaker too, but prevented from attending by business commitments. And last but not least, Mrs. Martina Marušić Britvec, the director of the Nikola Tesla Experience Center. I invite Mrs. Željana Zovko, Vice President of the EPP Group, member of the Culture Committee, and our host for this conference, to say a few words.
Thank you very much. And dear colleagues and guests, I would like to welcome all our guests here. I would like to welcome also a representative from Serbian Embassy and also Serbian Mission, and also from Croatian Mission in Brussels. I welcome today a conference on Nikola Tesla's life, work and heritage. It is a pleasure to host all of you today in the European Parliament. I would like to greet our visitors from Croatia, Czech Republic, Hungary, France and Slovenia, led by President of the Nikola Tesla Network and Director of the Ličko-senjske County Tourist Board, Mr. Ivana Radoševića. I also wish a warm welcome to our speakers, Mrs. Nada Sirotić, Counselor for Research and Space at the Permanent Representation of the Republic of Croatia to the EU, Mr. Jacquesa Matteija from France, Mr. Martina Avsenika from Slovenia, Mr. Igora Pavličeka from Czech Republic, Mr. Gyula Bunnu from Hungary, and Mrs. Martina Marušić from the Nikola Tesla Experience Center in Karlovac in Croatia. As a member of the Committee on Culture and Education in the European Parliament, I work closely on ensuring that our European flagship programs for education, culture and research are improved and appropriately funded, so that many more young people, scholars, scientists and creative and innovative minds can work hard on achieving their dreams, but with additional support from their countries and the European Union. One of the reports that will be voted in today's plenary is the report on inclusion measures within Erasmus Plus that I worked on for the past months. Precisely, this report calls for wider participation and inclusion of students and adults of all age groups in the Erasmus Plus, regardless of their social, economic, health and geographical obstacles. I'm certain that if Tesla lived in today's world, he would have not gone to America to find the support for his ideas and work. Instead, he would have been supported by the European Union, like many scientists, innovators and researchers are today, especially with the Horizon program. One of these great minds is definitely our Mate Rimac, who is the best example that shows that Croatia has innovative and creative people who build on Tesla's heritage. Our job here in the European Parliament is to support these people and make sure that our next generation creates smart solutions for our digital and sustainable future. And for the progress we already see, we can again thank Nikola Tesla's vision, innovation and inventions that shaped the world we know today. For that, he deserves all the recognition he can get. In 2003, Nikola Tesla's archive was inscribed in the UNESCO Memory of the World Register. Many museums celebrate his life, and the Nikola Tesla Network goes even wider by creating an international cultural and touristic route. I just want to say that I'm really proud that this year, on 2005, Croatia organized a big exhibition in UNESCO, and I was the one who participated on this work, and it is such a great pleasure to have this institutional memory and to have this meeting today in European Parliament. It is an honor to have Nikola Tesla's network in the European Parliament today to present their work. Nikola Tesla's cultural route is a great initiative that will certainly attract many visitors who want to know more about the life of this genius. I had the pleasure to cooperate with Network last year when I was one of the main supporters of the Tesla Ozalj Festival. Those who are familiar with the story of Nikola Tesla know that there is no simple term or single word that describes who he was and what he worked on. Scientist, physicist, engineer, inventor, a genius and a visionary that changed the history of humanity and improved our civilization with his invention. He was born in Croatia and Lika and spent his life in various cities and countries across Europe, and in the United States, where he eventually became a prominent European scientist and inventor. Famous mostly for his key role in the development of alternating current, the system that powers electricity grids around the world to this day, he was also a pioneer in many other fields, including wireless communication, radio control, and wireless power transmissions. During his lifetime, he held more than 100 patents. Today, our panelists will tell us more about Tesla's interesting story, his life and his work. Without further ado, I give the word to Ms. Nada Sirotić from the Permanent Representation of the Republic of Croatia to the EU.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member of the European Parliament, Madam Zovko, Mr. Radošević, dear speakers, dear guests. It is really an honor to be here on this great topic. And please allow me to first and foremost thank the organizers for this very kind invitation and the opportunity to say a few words about the science system in Croatia today. I will try to be very brief and talk in very general terms, but still giving you a very brief picture of what the science system today is and what are we trying to do in order to especially retain talents in the country. So when we talk about the science system, one thing that has to be said first and foremost that it's very diverse and it's very spread. It counts for 191 institutions which are registered by the Ministry of Science to perform research activity. You can imagine that in a country of the size of Croatia, this is both an advantage and a disadvantage. And this became even more visible when Croatia joined the EU. We became embedded in the European research area, in the European higher education area. This is a great opportunity for our researchers, for our innovators, for institutions, but it also put them in a more competitive environment. Nowadays, when we look at the statistics where Croatia stands in the European landscape, we can unfortunately see that we still lag behind. We lag behind in many numbers, key numbers in the investment in research and innovation. We lag behind the EU average, especially in private investment. We lag behind in the number of patents. Our mobility is still unbalanced. We have great outgoing mobility, lower incoming mobility. And these are all big challenges for the system for the moment. When we look at our participation in the European programs, Mrs. Zovko mentioned Horizon Europe program, which is the biggest program at the EU level. We can see that in the previous round, the previous programming period, we were fourth from the bottom, unfortunately. Croatia did not get a lot of EU funding from the program. we can see that we did not apply enough, so we are also below EU average in terms of applications. But what is encouraging is to know that we are above EU average when it comes to the quality of project proposals. So project proposals coming from Croatia are of very good quality. We do submit only good proposals. There are more encouraging data nowadays. For example, when we look at the emergence of innovative companies in Croatia, we are per capita one of the strongest. Madam Zovko already mentioned Rimac Automobili. We have also Infobip, our first unicorn. We have many companies that really accept at the international level. And this gives both motivation and hope for especially young people. Another reason for optimism are the latest scoreboards. According to the European Innovation Scoreboard and the Transition Performance Index from 21, I will quote, Croatia has shown exceptional effort in catching up. Exceptional effort, namely in increasing its innovation performance and its transition performance. And when it comes to the latter, we top not only in Europe, but we top globally in the transition performance. So these are all very motivating factors for our system. And this does not come as a surprise, since the government has in the last years been investing in a series of reforms. In the system, we are mainly focusing on increasing the excellence, transparency, efficiency, quality of the system, and all such measures are also well linked with the main investments, including those coming from structural funds and from the recovery and resilience facilities. So it's really a coordinated effort. Today, it's really a talk about talents and where do talents stand in this part of Europe, but also in Europe in general. The race for talents is a global one. This is without a doubt. In 2020, when Croatia was taking the presidency of the Council of the European Union, we were giving a special focus on measures to attract and retain talents in Europe, so ensure a more balanced brain circulation, because we do recognize that this is not only a problem of Croatia, it is a problem of entire Europe. We see that talents are really going to other global competitors, and this is a history repeating itself. It would be nice to reverse these trends in order for Europe not to lose future Nikola Teslas. So with this, I will conclude. Thank you once more for being here, and looking forward for other speakers and presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sirotić. And I now turn the floor over to Ivana Radošević, the president of the Nikola Tesla Network Association.
Thank you. Dear Mrs. Željana Zovko, dear Mrs. Nada Sirotić, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed lecturers and members of Nikola Tesla Network, welcome. First, let me thank Mrs. Željana Zovko and hosting our conference, Nikola Tesla, the starting point here in this building of Europe Parliament, where economical, innovation, cultural and other policies that unite the Europe are made. Nikola Tesla Network shares similar goals, and we hope to show you this today. It was in Europe where the great scientist Nikola Tesla spent the first 28 years of his life and educated, worked, and was shaped into renovate science of we know. Our presentators today come from the different European countries and will present to you exciting projects involving Tesla heritage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Radošević. The conference opens with an address by Mr. Jacquesa Matteija, a consultant and former director of the Destination Napoleon Cultural Route, who will tell us a little more about the international project for the Nikola Tesla Network Cultural Route.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Jacquesa Matteija. I'm from France, exactly from Corsica. And I have been for 18 years until last year, end of last year, the director of the European Federation of Napoleonic City. It's an organization certified by the European Council of Europe as a cultural route. So, I am consultant, but now I am the vice president of the Nikola Tesla Network. So my engagement for this project is total. When in 2018 my Croatian friends contacted me to help them to develop a project on Nikola Tesla, I immediately accepted, because this man, I can say this genius, has fascinated me until my adolescence. So it was for me clearly a good reason to participate to this great project. Nikola Tesla is not well known today, and it's a pity, because he's really an incredible inventor, maybe too naive not to be ruled by more opportunists than him all over the world. And he passed quite all his life far from Europe. But why nowadays we want to celebrate Nikola Tesla as a European when most of his scientific career has been developed in the United States? Simply because his career before leaving to USA took him to many countries in Europe. Next, please. So here you can see on this slide the different dates of the life of Nikola Tesla. He was born in 1856 in the small city of Smiljan. It's in Croatia today. At that time it was Austrian Empire. Then he went to the elementary school, 5 kilometers from Smiljan in Gospić. You have in Smiljan, for example, a very important museum today dedicated to Tesla, and it's really very interesting to visit him. And it's also possible to visit its childhood house. For our project, it's also very important to know that Nikola Tesla went to Karlovac. It's still in Croatia, for the high school period. You will hear this morning a very interesting presentation about the Nikola Tesla Experience Center, seated in Karlovac, and that will be for us a very important tool to develop our activity. Then, to study, he had to leave his homeland. So I will pass very quickly about this part of this slide. So he studied in Graz, in Austria. He trained to be an engineer. He has the opportunity to be at the University of Prague as auditor in 1880. Then lived to Hungary, and he worked there as an electrical engineer with the Central Telegraph Office in Budapest. He went to work in Paris for the Continental Edison Company, even at this time, before to leave to USA. And for the Edison Company, he went to Strasbourg in France to repair a new direct current lighting system. We will speak again about alternative current and direct current, because it's a very important point speaking about Nikola Tesla. Then in 1884, he left to America. He sailed to America with only 4 cents in his pocket, and he found immediate employment with Thomas Edison, who quickly became a rival, because Edison was an advocate of the direct current system, transmission system, and Nikola Tesla promote the alternative current system. The main difference between the two systems, that is the limit of the direct current, it's that you can't expand the diffusion of electricity on large scale on the territory. It's not the case with alternative current. So Edison started to develop a lot of system in America, but at the end, it was only at a short scale. It was not the case with the alternative current. And Tesla was not a businessman, but he found a collaboration with another great trade. It's a Westinghouse. Everybody knows this name. George Westinghouse and Nikola Tesla purchased the patent to the induction motor, the polyphasor system of alternating current dynamos, transformers and motors. So they developed the system of alternative current, and one of the most great realization surely was the power plant on the Niagara Falls, and this power plant marked quite the end of Edison's system. But it's important because the Niagara Falls power plant gave electricity to all industry in USA in this area, and USA kept a great advantage from this point in front of all industry of the world. I finish with the life. He died in 1943 in New York. You had 2,000 people at his funeral in Manhattan at the age of 86, but nearly penniless, and all but forgotten. Quite no one knew at this time as now who was Nikola Tesla. Next, please. I spoke about alternative current, but for me, it's one of the most important things. But he patented dozens of devices ranging from speedometers, extremely efficient electric generators, and so on. On this picture, you see one of the experiences about electricity. It seems like very, very dangerous, and maybe it was. And you can live these experiences in a smaller dimension at the museum in Smiljan, where you can light something you have in your hand without a wireless, and you create light with the system. It's a little bit noisy, I have to tell, but it's very, very impressive. So we work on the scientist, but from our point of view, promoting such a heritage means valuing a physical heritage, surely, but also whole section of immaterial culture which still feeds and inspires today, and especially in literature and cinema. Last year was in program the creation of a new movie. You have a lot of movies about Nikola Tesla, but last year was in program a new movie. I didn't see it for the moment, but I think it will be out this year. Maybe we hope. Next, please. So I want to speak about our project. It's not a project because it's we are working on and we are developing it. As you can see, is an international project, an international network. That is very important to understand. It's not only a Croatian project, it's really an international project. You see who is participating to the project, and you see there is a scientific committee, because we need to be strong. For example, I am not a scientist, so I know few about scientific career of Nikola Tesla. And for that, we have a very strong scientific committee. We have to improve the way it can work, and they can collaborate between us and with us. And you have an international executive board. And we develop we develop a network really at a worldwide level. Next, please. As you can see, we have 63 partners in 18 countries. in Europe, of course, but also in other continents, and we work with 18 universities. We have to improve the way to work. It's not easy because we are a very young organization, and you have to understand that the headquarter of the association is in Gospic, a very small city in Croatia, and that is, I think, for Croatian people, it's very, very important. But we don't have to forget that we are an international organization. At the European level, we want to candidate to become a European cultural route of the Council of Europe. For us, it's very important. It's not European Union, it's Council of Europe. And Council of Europe is used to certified cultural route, specific cultural route. I think now you have more than 45 routes in Europe, and we want Nikola Tesla become one of them. As I told you before, I was the director of the Destination Napoleon cultural route, and really it helped a lot for the notoriety and to develop projects with municipality, with different areas. I want to finish with a specific argument. Next, please. So, from the beginning, we did not want to be an historical or scientific association, even we speak about science and about history, but rather to carry out development projects rooted in the various territories that Nikola Tesla had the opportunity to visit at different times of his life, or to the territories marked directly by the creation of his work. Today you will have some example, but we can have also a lot of other examples. So the mark he left to us is very, very concrete. And the first objective of our network is to make known the life and the work of this man, first to the own population, it's very important, of the place where he studied, worked and created. And before even thinking of tourism promoting strategies, the main objective is to make people in these places, and especially young people, understand that this history still surrounds them today. Nikola Tesla, we don't know, but is everywhere around us. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matteija. As you mentioned before, Tesla's first European stopover was Graz, where he began to attend the Technische Universität, although a number of circumstances led him to cut his studies short and briefly take a job in Maribor. Slovenia will be presented in the lecture by Mr. Martin Avsenika, an academy-trained painter and owner of the marketing agency that is implementing a project for the digitalization of renowned personalities.
Thank you for the introduction, and good afternoon to everyone. So I'm grateful to have a chance to present you our project, the 3D digital double of Nikola Tesla, and at this special event in Brussels. So please the video. Yes, next one. And once again to play.
Hello.
Okay. So our team is always striving for challenges and progress, so we developed a new service which is 3D digital doubles of historical famous individuals.
Hello.
Our first was the 3D Slavko Avsenik, a legendary musician and my late father. And when I became amazed by extraordinary life of Nikola Tesla, we decided to enable a digital comeback of famous inventor by creating his high realistic 3D model. Next one, please. So it's chapter 4. Chapter 4.
Hello.
Hello.
So next, 4. So yes. A 3D digital double is customized and three-dimensional digital and visual representation and reconstruction of deceased or alive person into a 3D model. 3D models can achieve any level of details and be viewed from any angle, scaled, rotated, and easily modified. In a way, it is a digital reincarnation of a real human being. It can be displayed as pre-recorded or interactive real-time animation. Chapter 5. On the first level of this project, we have already developed a basic 3D model of Nikola Tesla created for the purposes of presentation and promotion. Next. So please to play, yes.
Hi, bright sparks. My name is Nikola Tesla, and I'm just a low-quality animated 3D model now. I want to look as nice as this 3D Albert Einstein. Help me become a fully rigged and animated 3D digital double on a top-notch level in 3D realism.
So then chapter 7, please.
Hi.
So our goal is to upgrade the existing 3D model to photorealistic and high-poly character that is fully rigged, vocal, and real-time animation ready. We want to achieve lifelike facial expressions and to nail the key photorealistic resemblance of the portrait Tesla with skin and hair details even a camera from that era couldn't capture on a photo. Another challenge will be the reconstruction of Tesla's voice. Also, we want to gather Tesla's knowledge and present his world-changing inventions by producing 3D animations. Chapter 8. So let me explain you step by step about the challenging process of creating a 3D digital double of Nikola Tesla. To create a 3D digital double of a live person, we use innovative methods, softwares, and tools like 3D scanning or traditional methods like photogrammetry. The process becomes complicated when creating doubles of deceased person with no video materials or just a few pictures available, as it is the case with Tesla. In this case, we use the manual method and multi-stage digital process of 3D modeling, which is a bit tricky process because the vision we all have about someone is not the most objective. Chapter 11. In the phase of design, we create a 3D digital doubles concept and style that will define his personality, appearance, voice, facial, and body features. Meaning, we need to seek for sources, do research, and create a draft that would present Tesla in the most realistic way. There is a lack of video and audio materials, so we can only work with low-quality photos of Tesla from different periods of his life and with written records about Tesla as reference. Chapter 12. Next. So we choose this photo as a representative for Nikola Tesla concept design. Next, please. The process continues with manual 3D modeling using software to create a 3D model. Tesla's authentic photographs are the base for the body reconstruction and his 3D head portrait. At the blocking step, we block out basic shape of the body and face of a future 3D model, its skeleton and muscles frame. Understanding overall harmony and proportion is important for the photorealistic 3D digital double. With the 3D sculpting technique, we create a 3D model with digital material similar to real clay. This stage is vital in creating photorealistic and stylized 3D model. Sculpting allows us to reach incredible levels of details in similarity, as in the case of Albert Einstein, made by 3D generalist Alexander Baim, who is a member of our team. So please, video 14. So here we show what details and the high quality of the end products should be. Like in the case Albert Einstein, such quality we want to reach at Nikola Tesla. Then the 3D model needs a good retopology, which means correctly organizing the polygons to ensure the future animation performs well. Once previous steps are completed, we need to unwrap and bake a 3D model to combine all the layers and different materials that define our 3D digital double of Tesla. Chapter 6, yes. At texturing stage, we apply color and surface attributes to 3D model. Our objective is to match a 3D model to a real person in every detail, like the color of hair and skin, wrinkles on a face, clothes, and other unique attributes. The model's interaction with light is also a key to believability and appeal. An important step is rigging the model, which means creating a skeletal structure that helps with proper model animation. It makes the 3D digital double gain the ability to move in various poses to appear most realistic. Then, with skinning, we bind the model geometric mesh to create it rig. The appearance of the model in action depends on skinning quality. Next video, please. This is now our current and basic result of Nikola Tesla as a 3D character. Next. The animation is the final step where 3D digital doubles comes to life. With motion capture equipment and Tesla's impersonator, we can capture complex and realistic body movements, hand gesture, and facial expressions. Each movement should reflect Tesla's personality, be natural, and evoke emotions, which can be achieved by high-quality animation. Motion capture data is then imported to full-rigged 3D model, which is now ready for pre-recorded and real-time interactive 3D animations. Next. The reconstruction of Tesla's voice is a great challenge. We are all curious to know how Tesla sounded, but we don't have access to any possibly existing audio or video recordings of his voice yet. So we plan to reconstruct his voice while obtaining any information about the height and color of his voice and manners of his speech patterns. Afterwards, we can produce pre-recorded and interactive real-time speech. Let me show you a few examples of motion capture, animation, and interactivity with Tesla. So, next video, please.
If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibrations.
And next one, please. So here we show possible interaction in real time with a live person. So 3D model with a live person. The world we live in now would be different without Tesla's research. He obtained around 300 patents during his lifetime. Some of his well-known inventions are Tesla coil, turbine, alternating current, magnifying transmitter, and others. His experiments can be seen in everyday life, like electricity light, radar, X-rays machines, radio, TV, and wireless communication. To obtain Tesla's heritage, we want to create 3D animations of Tesla's top inventions, with a 3D Nikola Tesla in lead role explaining his accomplishments. The aim is to spread awareness about the importance of Tesla and his achievements and to encourage people to learn about his mysterious heritage. Next video, please. The purpose of our project is mainly educational contents and various entertainment presentations for children and adults. Once the 3D digital double of Nikola Tesla is created, there are numerous possibilities of presenting him and his inventions in 3D animations with different innovative audiovisual technology, such as LED displays, projection screens, holograms, headsets for virtual and augmented reality, digital showcases, e-books, and mobile apps. These solutions can be embedded in our daily lives, in museums, in education, at pop-up events, exhibitions on social media, and others. 3D Tesla can also be used for merchandising, as digital art and NFTs in the crypto world, even in entertainment, music, gaming, and film industry. Here is one example of presenting Nikola Tesla as hologram in the museum. So the
time is run out, Mr. Avsenika, so we have to...
So thank you. I would just like to thank to Mrs. Dubravku.
If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibrations.
And thank you to all participants for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Prague was the next stop on Nikola Tesla's European journey. Tesla has planned to continue his studies there, but did not manage to enroll the university department of his choice. So he spent most of the time in the renowned library of the Clementium, studying technical textbooks. Dr. Igor Pavličeka, a business developer, will present the space technologies being developed by a Czech company.
Yeah, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity. So let me start my presentation with this small cube. I guess that everyone knows what's this. It's kind of Rubik's cubes, right? Smart thing for smart brain. But I have another smart thing, and this is another cube. I don't know if everyone or someone is familiar what's this. But this is the satellite, so small, right? So this is the nanosatellite, and I will tell you more about this technology. So next, please. Yeah, as I said, this is the small satellite class of nanosatellites, also known as CubeSats. Next, please. There is a various opportunity or applications, for example, Earth observation, weather and climate change monitoring, which I guess is the most issue of these times. But also these satellites can be used for educational purposes. For example, one Czech satellite, which was launched a month ago. The main purpose of the satellite was especially for education. So the students has the access to the satellite. They can test the modules on the satellite. So I think this is kind of inspirational for other countries in Europe. So various applications of the small cubes. Next, please. You may see here the comparison with the larger satellites and this small satellite, nanosatellite. Many applications can be done with these small cubes at lower prices, as you can see here. Next, please. This nanosatellite generates petabytes of data, and that is the problem. Next, please. Here our role begins, because we are providing satellite communication solutions and building infrastructure, ground station segment for communications with LEO satellites. That means at low orbit satellites. Next, please. We are Czech-based companies and providing comprehensive connection for small satellite space missions. Next, please. I can explain how does it work. For example, customer or university or R&D institute can provide, can operate, or want to operate their own satellite. However, the problem is the connectivity between this customer or this institution and the satellite. So the middle point of this is ground station, that means the antenna. So we are providing the connection and connectivity between the customer or the institution, organization, and the satellite. So we are in the middle. Next, please. But everyone knows that the Earth is not flat and it's spinning around, so the communication is limited. And with one ground station, the institution or customer has only connectivity for approximately 1 hour per day, so it's so small. Next, please. And so that means that customers wish to have more ground stations around the globe for better communication. Next, please. And this is our idea, that we are trying to build a worldwide network of shared ground stations to provide better communications. Yeah, we have right now we have pilot ground station in Czech Republic, and we are expanding. And this year we will deploy our ground stations in other countries, for example, in Finland, in Canada, India, or Australia. Next, please. And we build and operate a shared network of ground stations, and that means that clients rent stations only for time they need it. And these ground stations around the world are accessible online. On that pictures at the bottom, you can see this coverage of this ground station. This is our goal, so we are trying to gain this goal, but still we are far at the beginning. So next, please. Yeah, we're providing hardware solution, software solution, and licensing process. Next, please. And here you may see that small sat market is really booming. At the market value is forecasted for 50 billion euros till 2028. And currently, I can say that currently is about 2,000 satellites on the orbit, but in small satellites on the orbit. But in next decade, in next 8 years, there will be more than 10,000 satellites on the orbit, so it's quite a huge market. Next, please. Here you can see some kind of statistics and who is the winner of this technology. And you can see here that the United States are the best in providing this technology. Europe is on the second place, but still we are lagging behind this United States. And this is quite a problem because I can say generally the Europe is lagging behind these new and smart technologies. So maybe this could be also some kind of inspiration for the people here in European Parliament to push these smart technologies. Next, please. Yeah, this is another graph that you can see here that also the difference between the United States and the Europe. The United States are the best, and the Europe is the second one. And Asia is pretty progressing. So, next, please. This is our team. It wouldn't be impossible to make this company without the good things and smart brains. So these are our founders and partners which we are cooperating. Thanks. Next, please. And here is the conclusion that we were founded in 2020, so it's not, we are a startup company in early stage, but have still a pilot operation in 2021 and wants to have 4 or 6 locations in 2022. And yeah, we are in European Space Agency incubation, and we were successful in R&D grant. So also we were lucky in attracting some kind of private investor. So we were successful in this. Thank you. Next, please. Yeah, thank you very much for your time. And if you would have a question, just ask me about this technology. Thank you.
Maybe I would just have a small question just to connect what Nikola Tesla was doing on this and to give a connection. I mean, I congratulate. This is excellent presentation. But in order to help those who don't know on his work and what he was saying about this satellite communication. Just to give us a brief.
The connection is that in radio frequency or wireless communication between the Earth operator and the satellite, because radio frequency is this time there is not any other option to communicate. For example, with objects on the orbit, with the objects in the space. Without this frequency technology or these wireless communications devices, so that's the connection. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pavliček from Prague. Tesla departed for Budapest, and while strolling in the park there, he had a flash of inspiration and sketched the design for the alternating current motor. Tesla was also a great environmentalist, and Mr. Gyula Bunnu, the well-known Hungarian banker and sustainable growth expert, will speak in greater detail about carbon emissions.
Morning, everyone. It's lunchtime, and I'm going to be very tough with you, so please hold on to your seats. Can I do the stepping of the slides, please? Do you have a remote control? No? But can I do the stepping? No. Okay, fine, no problem. All right. Well, I'm pretty proud because we had a team member when we did our challenge, when we did our project, called Nikola Tesla. I'm not loony. He wasn't physically there, but his talent, his thoughts, his ideas, the way he was thinking about physics, electricity was really with us. I'm going to focus on one very big, so to speak, strategic challenge that lays ahead us in terms of humanity and also Europe. Would you?
Sorry. Can you speak a little bit closer from the microphone,
sure.
Please? Thanks.
No. Would you bring up the next slide, please? I was born in '69, and ever since then, the quantity of energy, electricity that we consume raised by 400%. So it's just rocketing. It's going up, and it's not going to stop in the foreseeable future. Our dependence on energy, on electricity, is getting bigger and bigger. As of today, Europe cannot live without 99.98% availability of electricity. Next slide, please. Some good news. As far as the production is concerned, solar and wind, the renewables are rising, and fossils are declining. So what is my problem then? My problem is very simple. Next slide, please. It's electricity. Just a very brief historic roundabout. The word electricity we inherited from the Greeks, ancient Greeks. Thales, at around 600 BC, started using it when he realized, when he was brushing some amber pieces, the small paper pieces was running either towards or away from the amber. And amber in Greek is electron. So the reason we use the word electricity now is because of Mr. Thales. Next slide, please. If Europe wants to reach its carbon zero goals of 32% carbon zero electricity production by 2030, the annual growth of the production should be in the range of 50 terawatt per annum. Historical rise is below 40 terawatt per annum. So in case we continue growing as we grew in the period of 2020 and 2010, we're not going to reach our targets. And European Union is just thinking about raising the bar, raising the target from 32% to 40%. For us to reach the 40% target, we should grow year on year at around 60-65 terawatt per annum. and we're growing roughly half of that. So that is the very particular challenge I'm going to address today. The good news is that the solution lays in the problem itself, because the capacity factor of the renewable energy production today is at around 20, 30, 35%. Capacity factor is a strange thing. That's a percentage of the total theoretical production of a renewable power plant versus the actual production. So it means that the renewable power plants as of today produce roughly 1/3 of what they could produce. Why is that? There's two reasons. Reason number one, wind and sun don't behave themselves. You cannot control their production as easily as you can control the fossil power plants. The capacity factor of the fossil power plants is 93% because you can control them very easily. So we have a production fluctuation that we need to live with, again because sun and wind don't behave. On the other hand, consumption is also fluctuating very heavily during the day, during the week, during seasons. And in between, there is the grid network. And the grid network is unable to store energy, is unable to store electricity. So in case these two fluctuations do not meet, and you can easily imagine that they very rarely meet, you lose the opportunity to produce electricity in your renewable power plants. As we were thinking about resolving this problem, and that's how Nikola comes in. Nikola Tesla is known of his AC, next slide please, of his AC inventions, dynamo, motor, and the patent of 1888 when he patented alternating current. But for this particular exercise, taking into account that even the sunniest cities of Europe, only roughly 1/3 of your total time you can capture, you can produce renewable electricity. So the time window is very short. We were thinking about how to capacitate this very short time window for more production. That's when Nikola came in with his direct DC inventions. High voltage DC, next slide please. High voltage DC, you can pump large quantities of electricity, large quantities of energy into storages. It's very hard to manage large high voltage DC because even a small nano-ohm resistance difference in the wiring, you start creating heating, and the more heating you create, the more resistance you grow, and the thing will catch fire very, very easily. So we needed to be very careful about how we manage high voltage DC to capture the electricity produced by the power plants. Next slide, please. Next one, please. The solution is as simple as as tough the challenge is. The solution is industrial specified large containers, large storages that are able to capture large quantities of electricity installed, directed, connected at the power plants. So when the sun shines and you can produce lots and lots of energy that you cannot push into the network because the network is unable to accept it, then you can pump it into your container, into your storage. And when the sun and wind doesn't produce electricity, but the consumption hikes, you can start downloading electricity from your storage. Basically, the storage works as a balanced loading buffer in between production and consumption. Next slide, please. The charging of the storage varies in between 20–80%. It can simultaneously charge and discharge, and it is there for you, for the power plant operator, for the power plant owner, to store the excess electricity. Using this storage, you can double your actual production, i.e. you can halve your opportunity loss. Next slide, please. What does that mean in EU terms? That means that based on the existing renewable power plants, i.e. without building new power plants, we can produce roughly 400,000 terawatt more. 400,000 terawatt more based on the existing investments and renewable power plants. That's a hell of a big number. The carbon reduction of 400,000 terawatt is in the range of 30,000 tons of carbon emission. So in case we focus on the efficiency of the renewable power plants, we raise the efficiency of the renewable power plants from 30 to 50, 60%, then we can produce more electricity and we can lower our carbon emission easily. What does that take for the market to move toward such a structure? The market wants to have a transparent, stable environment. So for the European Union to attract power plants and storages to be installed, and the carbon emission lowered and electricity produced increased, European Union needs to produce a safe environment. It needs to come up with a legislation that makes certain that long-term, 20-25 years, power purchase agreements can be signed in between the private investors investing into renewable power plants and the national electricity companies. So as the market starts, the European Union starts attracting market investors. Just one example, South Africa is the second largest electricity consumption market per capita after Canada and a little ahead of United States. So it's a big market. And they started moving away from fossils about 10 years ago. But they failed to think about what comes on the long run, how the next market structure is going to look like, how they can assure stable electricity production. May 15th, just a month ago, the South African government had to announce a 5 hours outage every single day in South Africa. I'm not sure whether Europe is going to tolerate 5 hours blackouts every single day. So us thinking about technology, legal and finance stability around renewables is a big challenge that lays ahead us. In case we fail, comes 5 hours blackout. In case we manage to meet it, then we can meet our carbon emission goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bunnu, do you want some? Yeah.
I would just like to welcome my colleague Sunčana Glavak, who is also a member of ENVI committee, and we are just going to adopt 455, and we adopted her report at the last plenary session. So to congratulate and to say that this was really interesting observation on what possible consequences might be in the future here. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us, Sunčana. After Hungary, Tesla briefly went to Paris and Strasbourg and then departed from France for the United States. Even though Tesla was in Belgrade for all of 31 hours, he left a deep mark on Serbia and inspired many young scientists to continue to develop his innovations. Luka Lopin is one of them, and as I mentioned before, he was scheduled to be our next speaker, but was prevented from attending by business commitments. Finally, we return to the city of Tesla's secondary education, the time in which he definitely turned to science. The Nikola Tesla Experience Center, which should be opened at the beginning of next year, will be presented by its director, Martina Marušić Britvec.
Thank you, Carmela. I'm really happy to be here today and to present you Nikola Tesla Experience Center. As you can see on the PowerPoint presentation, there is also a logo of the center. I will explain later what does it stand for. Next slide, please. When we are talking about Nikola Tesla Experience Center in Karlovac, first of all, I would like to say that this center is a big project of Karlovac County and, one of the biggest in maybe last 5 years. It's founded by the finances of Karlovac County and through the EU project. So first of all, just one more enter. When we are talking about Karlovac, Karlovac is a city in Croatia. It's in the middle of the Croatia, and we like to say it's a city and the county of meetings, because here you can meet coastal and continental part of Croatia. And also it's really important to know that it's 30 minutes away from Zagreb, but also it's maybe 1 hour and 20 from Smiljan and Gospić, where Nikola Tesla was born. Next slide, please. When we are talking about a logo that I mentioned before, for us it's really important for Karlovac to work, and we are really proud of our rivers. So when you are watching logo, you can also see on the map, when you are watching on a geographical map, 4 rivers that go through the city of Karlovac: Kupa, Korana, Dobra i Mrežnica, and we implemented in logo this topograph of 4 rivers, and also the light of electricity that represent Tesla. So this is about visibility of our center. Next slide, please. And when we are talking about why Experience Center about Nikola Tesla in Karlovac, well, as previous speakers mentioned, Nikola Tesla lived for 3 years in Karlovac, and this was his last formal education. He went to high school in Rakovac. It's now part of the city of Karlovac. And also important part of his education there was the fact that he mentioned, and he mentions afterward on the next slide you will see, the influence that had professor of physics, his professor Martin Sekulic, that was really important in that era in scientific and educational life of Croatia, because on the last 3rd year of Tesla's education in Karlovac, Sekulic became the corresponding member of academy in Zagreb. So he was really important in the scientific way in Croatia, that part, and he also was the one that used instruments that was equipped, 579 instruments that school had at that time, and he used them in his classroom education. Next slide, please. So when we are talking about influence of the Martin Sekulic and formal education for Tesla in Karlovac, the Tesla itself wrote in his biography that was a really big influence. You can point more, enter. And I will not read it, but here it says that he really was impressed, and he really, when we learn and read about Tesla, he was not just focused on physics. He read a lot, and he had really big focus on a lot of subjects. But here, Professor Sekulic gave him knowledge and gave him opportunity to do a different kind of experiments and lead him in direction of physics and this part that he afterwards was really into. Next slide, please. So when we are talking about our center, so it's in final stage. We are doing implementation of internal part. From the outside, it's almost finished, and you can see on these pictures how it looks. The first part is a building that looked like at that time. He didn't live here. He doesn't have a connection to him. It has connection. Why it's in this way? It looks like this because it needs to be rebuilt in the way it looked in that time when the building was built. And the other part is modern. So in another way, we are making sure that heritage is in a way preserved, but also there is a modern part. When you enter, you don't see the difference from one part of the building from another. Also important fact is on the left picture you can see a little bit of high school. It's the Gymnasium Karlovac. It's the building, it's the high school where Tesla went. So we are like one building close to another in the same yard, I would say. Next slide, please. And the internal part is in progress. We are doing like implementation of the equipment. But when we are talking about the center, we are not focused on his inventions in general. We don't have, you will not be able to see there some of his inventions. We are focused on his mind and to present visitors Nikola Tesla as a person, who he was, what made him the great inventor that he was, some kind of inspiration to everyone that visits the center. So the main theme of the center is get inside of Nikola Tesla unusual mind. Next slide, please. And when we are talking about his unusual mind and what does it mean, I will just say that we are focused on his essence, on his passions and traumas, also on phobias that he had, and on the specific that he really had photographic memory. Also, exceptional sharpness of his senses. That's all interpreted through three floors of the building. But I will not tell you more. I will just show you on the next 3 slides how it will look inside. So what can you expect inside? We will see on the next 3 slides. So this is the first floor. Its entry, and also with the interpretation of Nikola Tesla. On the back side there is a big hall with 80 places, and I really expect to do a lot of projects and partnership with, I hope, many of you and others who are interested in projects and in preserving Nikola Tesla ideas and way of thinking. Next slide, please. This is on the 2nd floor, and this is the 3rd floor. So these are just like 3 pictures to not only not only that I explain you what there will be, but also, as we all say, pictures say 1,000 words. So I wanted to show you how it will look like. Next slide, please. Next slide. Current situation, you will see it now. We are in the final stage. So this is from outside. This is photo taken a few days ago. And next slide, please. This is in process inside, but we will manage to do it till the end of this year, or in January next year it will be finished and we will open the center. And final slide. I would like to invite you to follow us on social networks, on Facebook and Instagram. We are in preparation of our website, and we also I would like to invite you, when the center will be open, to join us and to visit it and tell your impressions about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martina. Can't wait to visit you in the Nikola Tesla Experience Center. I think we have time to watch a promotional film about Ličko-senjske County that also showed the house of Tesla's birth. Tesla's birth. Can we show it? Nema? No, we don't have the film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then.
Okay, but I think that we can open for question and answers. Before that, I would just like to comment this project in Karlovac and to say that we had a really excellent European project of, that shows the work of Faust Vrančić, the famous innovator who invented a parachute in the island of Prvić. So this reminds me a bit of his work, and to say how inspiring it is for new generation to follow these routes, because usually, I mean, I live in Split, or when you go to Split, or if you are in Dubrovnik, all these tourists are following the Game of Thrones. Where it was filmed, but we are not promoting as much as we should be these cultural corridors and the route of our scientists, and also to remind you that tomorrow the inclusiveness in Erasmus Plus will be adopted. This is the only way that we can help promote all these famous scientists from remote areas to have help from European Union. Thanks. So.
Okay, is anybody has a question? Now is the time, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. It's more like a comment than a question. After listening to the panelists, and well, sorry, my name is Miloš Todorović. I'm Deputy Head of Mission of Serbia to the EU. So upon listening to you and reading this introductory paper, the first thing that comes to my mind is that it seems to me that Croatia is rather eager to adopt Tesla as a scientist, but rather unable or unwilling to reconcile with Tesla as a man that he was. I haven't heard or seen or read one word of few elements that made Tesla who he is and still is somewhere in the Balkans. Even if you Google Tesla today, which is what you do, which is what young people would do, one of the first sentences that you will read is that Tesla is a great Serbian-American engineer, inventor, scientist, or futurist. You don't know that by reading this or listening to you. So he's represented differently here. Why is that important, you would ask, in today's day and age? Is that really important? Well, yes, it is. Because it seems to me that there is an attempt to convert Tesla into something that he is not. And why is that? Mr. Mattel, you mentioned his house and you wanted to present the film about his house where he was born. Did you know that that house was razed to the ground and burned specifically because it was Tesla's house in 1941 by Croatian military, together with the church where his father acted as an Orthodox priest, together with 90 members of his extended family who perished during the war and thousands of other Serbs from the area. Now, after the war, that house was rebuilt and a monument was erected in Gospić. You mentioned Gospić. And yet it was destroyed again as recently as the 1990s. So is this how Croatia honors Nikola Tesla? I don't think so. I think it continuously failed to honor Nikola Tesla. And now we are presented with a sterilized, cleansed, digital version of a man that has nothing to do with him as a man that he was. So do we have a reason to believe that Croatia will, this renewed interest in, it's relatively new, I think it's from the early 2010s, that this renewed interest will fare any better? Interestingly and unsurprisingly, there is not one word in your presentation that Tesla's remains, his ashes, and much of his original estate can be found in downtown Belgrade today, where it resides because of the wishes of his family, and where he unambiguously is still today revered and celebrated as one of the greatest Serbs and one of the greatest men to have ever lived.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. Zovko will answer you. Yeah, and maybe tell something. Yeah. Oh, dear.
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your attention. First of all, I want to refer to the Serbian-Croatian problem, because 300 years ago there was no Serbia, and you can also be an Orthodox and be a Croatian, or just be a person from Liga. That doesn't even really matter. But I have a technical question, because Tesla was, first of all, a scientist, and not a Serbian or Croatian. He was a human, like we all of us are, and it's stupid to fight who is called how, because 300 years ago there was none of this and none of that. So first I have a okay, little boy, I have a question, technical nature, about to Mr. I forgot, didn't catch your name, but about storing the energy produced by renewables. South Africa had a problem, you said, 5 hours a day. What do you think about, first of all, what is the technology that you use to store the energy? And the second, what do you think about Tesla, Elon Musk's Tesla power walls for that are like batteries for houses? And third, why can't we just go old-fashioned? Why can't South Africa just pump the sea on the mountain when there is electricity, and then just let it go down when there is not, and just put some turbines and then produce the electricity when needed, if there are no sun or something like that? That's it. Thank you very much for attention.
Maybe I think that first we should answer this technical question. No, I would just leave unanswered the first statement by the Serbian embassy, and thank for being here. So this is not about the history, and it's about science and innovation. And the young gentleman, maybe you can also present yourself. I appreciate that you take interest in the science, and this was made for you, really, and for all the young people who are here. So maybe you can answer, because I'm also wondering about these technical issues.
It doesn't expedite linear. So what you can do in small size, you cannot repeat in large scale. We're lucky, I mean, my team, because we don't have a historical heritage, so to speak. All our competitors are coming from the battery part of the world, and they're trying to build large storages from small batteries. The competitor that you asked about is building 1 megawatt of a storage of 268,000 small batteries. Just imagine the wiring connecting 268,000 small batteries together. And if there is a small nano-ohm resistance difference in the wiring, heat starts generating and the whole thing will just catch fire. If you Google Tesla large storage, you will find many articles about it catching fire 2 or 3 minutes after being switched on. I'm not knocking on those guys. It's their challenge coming from the heritage of small batteries. Again, we're lucky. We could use Tesla's DC direct current ideas about short distance, large quantity electricity transform. And right up front, we started building our storage from large blocks, not small batteries, but large blocks. For 1 mega, we use only 400 pieces, not 200, almost 300,000 pieces. And the other thing you need to be very careful about is the flow of energy, the flow of electricity. Because electricity loves avoiding resistance. So problem with most batteries on the long run, as far as their lifespan is concerned, that their actual capacity starts dropping immediately. After 2 years, 3 years, an average battery's actual capacity drops to 40% of the original capacity of the storage. So we needed to put a solenoid switch on every single block to monitor the flow of charging and discharging, to make certain that the charging and discharging are all equal. No block is resisting or overworking, because that's what driving most of the storage's actual capacity going down. So again, as far as the technology is concerned, we're not repeating the small things in large scale. We invented a completely new thing, because high voltage electricity is completely different from 20 or 200 voltage electricity.
We're running out of time, Mr.
South
Gyula.
Africa or any other country to pump large quantities of electricity from one place to another, the grid network. Australia built its grid network around 13 large-scale coal-based power plants after the Second World War. Then about 10 years ago, they decided to start focusing on renewables. As of today, they have 300,000 small-scale renewable power plants. But the wiring around the country...
Excuse me, we have to leave at 1, so please, we have 10 seconds more.
But just in order to conclude, maybe I can invite gentlemen later on to continue this conversation. And can I just conclude, because we will have to leave this room. I would like to thank you all for coming here and for attending this really important conference on this foreign affairs issue and minority inclusion issues. We will continue in the Foreign Affairs Committee, which I'm actively participating on enlargement reports and Western Balkan reconciliation issues. So this is not the topic that we are dealing here with. On dealing with historical memories and inclusion of the minorities in the government and the need to find out what happened during the war and on the missing person. This is something that we are going also to discuss and that we are discussing in our reports that we are dealing with. And also on the 23rd, we are 22nd. So it's tomorrow. We have a Western Balkan leaders meeting tomorrow, and we will see how these countries have decided whether they're going to continue their European path or they're going to be stuck in the war memories, which is quite discouraging. And as a rapporteur for EPA 3 funds, I highly encourage all these aspirants to really get use of all these experiences that we are trying to present here. Thank you all, and welcome to see all these museums and to get to become a member of Tesla Networks in the future. Thank you.
And thank you, Mrs. Zovko, to having us here. Thank you very much to everybody.